All right, so we need to review the quiz that some of you took before we do the retake. So let's start off with the basic balance measurements that we did. So we look and see that 0 is here, so we're going to start with 20. So you have to make sure you put the decimal point so you line up what you are adding. So then we're at 7. This is 5, 6, 7. So 7.7. This is really when it's important to make sure you have your decimal points. So we have 27.7 grams. Let's look at the next one. Now we're going to start in the middle. So we have 700. Put your decimal point. Then we're going to 20. Now we're at 2, and I think it's kind of easier to count back on this one. So we're at 9. So 2.9. Please, please, please put the decimal point. Some of you struggled with that. So we have 722.9 grams. Getting better writing with this thing. All right, let's look at this one. So our first one, we have 300. So I put 300.0. Now I have 40. Now I come over here. This one's a little hard to see, so as long as you're somewhat close to it, I would do 1.8. I'm okay with 1.7. So then I just add and put my decimal point. So I'm at 341.8 grams. Don't forget to put your unit of measurement. That's super important. So finding the volume, think math. It's length times width times height. So ours is going to be 5 times 2 times 3 equals, so 5 times 2 is 10 times 3. And here I just said I was getting better at using the pen. So we're at 30. Make sure you label it. Now go to the next one. I'm slightly ashamed at this one. Please do your math for this. So I'm slightly ashamed because it's in inches, and that's not metrics that we normally use. So it's going to be 9 times 10 times 3. So 9 times 10, because remember we're doing length times width times height. So 9 times 10 is 90. We're going to multiply that by 3. 3 times 0 is 0. 3 times 9 is 27. So we have 270 inches. All right, now this is one that a lot of you struggled with. So we're trying to find the volume of the hammer. So the first thing we need to do is find the volume of each graduated cylinder. So this is the graduated cylinder that doesn't have the hammer, and it's 65 milliliters. Now we need to find out what this one is with the hammer. So 65, 66, 67, 68, 69. And here I said I was doing better with this. 69. So now I'm going to take the number that has the object and I'm going to subtract the number that doesn't have the object. So I want to see how much it increased. So I'm going to do 69 minus 65, and that equals 4. So the volume of the hammer is 4. So now we have a little tiny dinosaur. So remember, one of the first things we need to do is find out what the scale is, so what each of these little lines mean. So 4 and 5, so we know that these are going to be decimals. So think of this as one whole, and then kind of think of it almost as like a 10. So one whole, and we have 5 lines. So how many times does 5 go into 10? It's 2, so in this case it's a decimal, so each is worth 0.2. So this would be 4, 4.2, 4.4, 4.6, 4.8. So here we have 4.8. Now over here, still going up by 0.2s. So 5, 5.2, 5.4, 5.6. So now I subtract. So 5.6 minus 4.8 . Make sure you bring down your decimal point. This is a really tiny dinosaur. So basically you're taking the bigger number, so the one that has the object, and you're subtracting it from the one that doesn't have the object. We're seeing how much it goes up. All right, so now we're looking at measurement in both centimeters and millimeters. So here we go. We have 1, 2. So I have 2 centimeters. Now I need to find out how many other little lines. So we have 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go with 3 even though it kind of goes over. So 2.3 centimeters. Now to make that millimeters, I'm going to bring the decimal point over, or I can just multiply it by 10. So I have 23 millimeters. Make sure you add your unit after it, even though it says it here. So let's look at this next one. This one's not even a full centimeter, so for centimeters it's going to be a decimal. So let's count our lines. 1, 2, 3. So this one's going to be 0.3 centimeters. I covered my decimal point. And then millimeters, bring the decimal point over, and we end up with 3 millimeters. All right, so now let's look at qualitative and quantitative. This was something some of you struggled with. So I'm going to number these and then just write the number of where each goes. So remember, qualitative is all about the qualities. You can also think about letters. Quantitative is about the quantities. And then inferences, you use your observations plus what you already know to make your inference. You're going to look for keywords like probably or might. Those are going to be your clue words where you're making an educated guess. All right, so the shell is 3 centimeters. We know measurements go under quantitative, so I'm going to put a 1 here. There are 3 shells, so that's a quantity, so we're going to quantitative. The shell is white and brown, so we're describing what it looks like with colors, so that's going to be qualitative. The shell probably came from the beach, so here we have probably. So that's going to be our inference. The shell is heavy. That's one of our describing words, so it is qualitative. Now we're going to look at this picture and write 2 qualitative statements, 2 quantitative, and 1 inference. So for qualitative, I'm going to say the screw is black and white. The screw is long. So now quantitative. So now I need to have numbers. So the screw is 5.1 centimeters. And then I could say there is 1 screw. Now I need to make an inference. So I can say someone is probably building something with wood. And I'm going to say I think something probably with wood, because when we built our stairs, we used long screws that kind of looked like this. So I'm using what I see, and see how it has these little, I don't know what they're called, little rivet kind of things, to kind of be sturdy and hold on. So I'm going to go with building something with wood. It's taking what I know and what I see and putting it together. All right, make sure you guys study your notes so you're ready